A lying flat competition was held in a Zhejiang shopping mall. Poor traveling was popular during the May Day holiday. An old man was rejected by the organizer after completing the challenge of lifting a 25-kilogram gold bar with one hand. Mirages of the Palace of Heaven were seen in Shandong and Anhui. It's all covered in today's China Truths. A lying flat competition was held in a Zhejiang shopping mall. On May 1st, a shopping mall located in Taizhou, Zhejiang Province, played host to an unconventional competition centered around the act of lying flat. Despite the term being a taboo topic in mainland China, with authorities previously criticizing the trend and imposing harsh punishments on participants, over 160 individuals signed up for the competition. With a prize of 5,000 yuan awarded to the winner, a diverse group of men and women, young and old, gathered in the mall's hall, creating a spectacle. Contestants were required to lay still for at least 20 minutes to receive a free yoga mat, with additional awards for those who could endure the challenge. The second-place winner received 3,000 yuan, while the third-place participant was awarded 2,000 yuan. However, the competition came with several rules, including participants being forbidden from moving or falling asleep and difficulty increasing as time went on. Organizers expressed their intentions to alleviate stress among the workforce, stating, "Now the work pressure is high, and we will give everyone a chance to relax." Ultimately, a citizen who lay still for roughly 6 hours claimed the first prize, taking home the 5,000 yuan reward. The award ceremony took place on site, with 3 individuals receiving prizes. The lying flat competition has since caused a stir amongst mainland netizens, with many expressing interest in participating or disappointment at missing out on the event. Some were even willing to joke about the competition, with one individual humorously commenting, "Lying dead is definitely the first place." Overall, the event's unorthodox nature has piqued the public's curiosity and once again brought attention to the growing trend of lying flat in mainland China. According to mainland netizens, the term lying flat is a contentious subject in China, and the shopping mall competition could draw the ire of the Chinese Communist Party, CCP. In recent years, living flat has become a prevalent trend among China's youth, with many opting out of traditional social expectations such as home ownership, marriage, and career advancement. Instead, adherents of this movement seek to maintain a minimum consumption standard, only doing the bare minimum required to survive while pursuing their passions. Lying flat is viewed as a silent form of resistance against the status quo by many of China's younger generation. These individuals reject being viewed as tools for the wealthy to exploit and reject the notion of living a life of servitude despite their diligence. Some even call for extended periods of living flat, with slogans such as "Lie flat for 3 months, bring down the Communist Party." "Lie flat for 6 months in exchange for a new China." The CCP's official media have condemned lying flat as being detrimental to society and branding it as shameful. However, they have never mentioned the root cause of young people's disillusionment, which is the unfair distribution of social resources. Interestingly, the lying flat phenomenon has even spread to the CCP's officialdom, with this year's CCTV Spring Festival Gala skit "The Pit" featuring a lying flat official. According to Yan Chungo, a senior media professional and commentator based in Hong Kong, low-level Communist Party officials understand the direction of the current trend and are not as naive as some might assume. Yan Chungo stated that a political party with deep corruption and people's support is completely lost. The cadres know how long the regime can last. Therefore, before the tree falls, the monkeys will scatter, and no one will work for the CCP. Despite being aware of the level of corruption within the party, these officials choose to adopt a more passive stance, lying flat and aligning themselves with the prevailing attitudes of the general public. Yen believes that the CCP's recent trajectory has led to a sharp divide between the government and the general population, with little to no coordination between the two. He noted that this approach will make the task of CCP leader Xi Jinping increasingly difficult, particularly given his protect the party stance. Yan Chungo believes that unless Xi Jinping wants to lose control of the CCP, he must see things through to the end. Poor traveling was popular during the May Day holiday. The long May 1st holiday in China has seen a significant increase in the number of tourists, with officials reporting a rise of 19% compared to pre-epidemic levels in 2019. However, despite the surge in tourist numbers, some analysts have pointed out that per capita tourism consumption has not improved and has, in fact, decreased since before the outbreak of the epidemic. According to data from the Ministry of Culture and Tourism's data center, a total of 274 million domestic tourists traveled during the holiday, an increase of nearly 71% compared to the same period last year. The domestic tourism revenue generated during the holiday was about 148 billion yuan, which represents an annual increase of 129%. However, a closer analysis reveals that, compared to the 2019 holiday period, while the number of tourist receptions has increased by 19%, tourism revenue has only increased by 0.66%. In 2019, per capita consumption reached a high of 603 yuan, but after the epidemic outbreak, the rate dropped sharply to 190 yuan in the same period of 2020. In 2021, it rose to 492 yuan, recovering to 81.6% of the same period before the epidemic. In 2023, the May Day holiday per capita consumption is expected to be 488 yuan, representing a recovery to only 80.8% of 2019 levels. As per a recent publication by the public account Adam's Special Trouble on May 4th, along with the finding that the actual per capita travel consumption in 2023 is considerably lower than that in 2019, the May Day holiday in 2023 lasted for 5 days, as opposed to 4 days in 2019. Which further dampens the tourism data of this year's May Day holiday when compared to that of 2019. The article notes that the economic slowdown and employment pressure have led ordinary citizens to abandon bulk and high-end consumption, instead opting for cost-effective options with their spare change. This shift in consumer behavior is not indicative of a true recovery of China's tourism industry but rather underscores the ongoing economic challenges that are not conducive to over-optimism and publicity. According to various reports from mainland media and self-reported outlets, this year's May Day tourism has been dominated by poor travelers, with special forces tours becoming increasingly popular. Ikai.com has reported that tourists participating in the special forces tours can visit over a dozen scenic spots in a single day, covering 60 to 70 kilometers on bicycles while saving on food and accommodation costs. Such tours are commonly taken on weekends or during holidays, with a 3-day itinerary costing less than 500 yuan and daily expenses amounting to around 100 yuan, about $15 per person. This form of tourism requires high physical endurance and independent travel capabilities, making it more popular among college students. A survey conducted by First Finance and Economics on Weibo asked people about their holiday expenses, with 43% of respondents reporting that their May Day expenses were below 500 yuan. One popular activity during the holiday was BBQs in Zibo and Shandong, which attracted significant attention and brought up discussions about consumption patterns in China. Tang Jingyuan, a current affairs commentator in the US, remarked on the issue, stating that the cheap prices of barbecue in Zibo have led to a crowd flocking there, representing a collective downgrade of consumption in Chinese society. Jingyuan went on to say that scenes of mass gatherings at high-end consumption places abroad are now rare, with collective consumption instead being focused on the more accessible issue of Zibo barbecue. Furthermore, as part of efforts to boost the economy and address issues of unemployment, Shenzhen has announced plans to relax regulations on roadside stalls starting in September of this year, following in the footsteps of Beijing, Shanghai, and Hangzhou. An old man was rejected by the organizer after completing the challenge of lifting a 25-kilogram gold bar with one hand. Recently, Zhejiang City's Culture and Tourism Bureau in Shandong Province attempted to gain interest by issuing a challenge for anyone who could lift a 25-kilogram gold brick with one hand to take it home with them. In a video circulating on the internet, a man who seems to be the director of the Shandong Yuanwan Tourism Bureau holds a pure gold brick weighing 25 kilograms, which he claims is worth over 10 million yuan. He declares that if a participant can follow the rules and lift the gold brick with one hand, it will be awarded to them. Numerous tourists attempted the challenge, but all failed, leading some onlookers to suggest that if it were possible to lift the gold brick, it would have already been taken. Surprisingly, the challenge made headlines after an elderly man appeared to succeed in picking up the gold brick with one hand. However, on May 4th, the staff of the propaganda section of the Zhejiang Municipal Bureau of Culture and Tourism clarified that the man had not completed the challenge as he did not comply with the rules of wearing gloves and lifting the brick vertically. This incident has quickly become a hot search on Baidu. The Zhejiang City Culture and Tourism Bureau responded on May 4th, stating that the gold brick lifted by the elderly man in the video is not the gold brick used in the challenge. Instead, it is a smaller 12.5 kilogram gold brick used for tourist interactions, such as taking photos. The actual gold bricks used in the challenge weigh 25 kilograms. Furthermore, the challenge involves strict rules for lifting the gold bricks with one hand. The staff at the Zhejiang City Culture and Tourism Bureau stated that participants must grasp the narrow side of the trapezoidal gold brick and hold it flat for 25 seconds. They emphasized that simply holding the gold brick with one hand is not sufficient for success. The staff further stated that this challenge has been ongoing since the establishment of the Gold Museum, and despite its existence for the past decade, no one has successfully completed it. Zhejiang City, located in Yantai, Shandong Province, is famous for its gold production and is known as the golden capital of China. Weibo netizens have expressed their skepticism toward the recent promotional behavior of the Tourism Bureau. Netizen Cultural Revolution 1018 has questioned the use of the gold bricks for hype and demanded to know who owns them. Meanwhile, Wu Jiangnan has accused the Bureau of organizing an organized fraud, as they know that no one can take away the gold bricks according to the rules. A Shandong netizen has also apologized for the Bureau's behavior, stating that it has discredited Shandong's reputation. Some netizens have ridiculed the Bureau's impossible challenge and suggested that it was merely a ploy to attract attention. Despite the rules surrounding the challenge, many believe that it is impossible to take away the 25-kilogram gold brick with one hand. Mirages of the Palace of Heaven were seen in Shandong and Anhui. On May 2nd, a mirage was inadvertently captured by tourists at the Laoshan Scenic Spot in Qingdao, Shandong. Just 2 days later, on May 4th, a similar occurrence was reported in Bengbu, Anhui. The sightings have been met with widespread praise, with netizens likening the sightings to the ancient mythological concept of Tiangong, which means the Palace of Heaven. According to reports, a tourist was taking photographs of his girlfriend when he accidentally captured footage of the mirage at Laoshan. In the distance, amid a sea of clouds, skyscrapers were visible, shrouded in golden light, and surrounded by mist. The resulting video was shared on social media platforms, with the tourist expressing his hopes that viewers would experience the same sense of awe and wonder as he did. Netizens were similarly awestruck, describing the mirage as strange peaks and city walls and towers rising from the deep sea. Meanwhile, Ms. Zhang, a resident of Bengbu, captured her own footage of a mirage on the morning of May 4th. Her video shows a tall building emerging from the clouds near the distant skyline, appearing suspended in mid-air and ethereal. Ms. Zhang told reporters that on that day she had decided to go to work later due to heavy rain, but while standing in her bedroom and looking southeast, she saw the wonderful scene of a mirage appearing above Longhu Lake. Ms. Zhang described the phenomenon as lasting around 7 minutes, with the mirage only dissipating after the sun had fully risen. Ms. Zhang expressed her surprise at being able to witness such a clear and vivid mirage from the comfort of her own home, stating that she had never expected such an occurrence. Mirages have a long history in ancient Chinese texts, with records of the phenomenon stretching back centuries. One such account can be found in Mingxi Bitan, a text written by Shinkud during the Northern Song dynasty that catalogs a variety of mysterious phenomena. According to the text, mirages are not only visual but also can refract sound. Shinkud describes how people would witness grandiose scenes of palaces, pavilions, towers, and city walls, complete with moving figures, chariots and horses, and guards of honor. These scenes were said to be incredibly vivid, allowing people to see them with great clarity. For the cause of mirage, modern science explains that it is a naturally occurring optical phenomenon. But this statement is still unconvincing because most of them have not been able to find out the original scene of the mirage or the actual location. Many people believe that the mirage is a scene from another dimension that is accidentally reflected in the human world, so they cannot find the corresponding real scene. Don't forget to comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. Make sure to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths.